Hi, this is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells it like the TIS. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. The topic I'm going to talk to you today about is Kandi and the Gang. Kandi and the Gang, season 1, episode 4 happened this past Sunday. I got a chance to watch it, but I rewatched it last night. It started off. It started off with. It started off with Dominique in the restaurant, or it started off. Let me get my notes right quick. I wrote it down. Oh yeah, it did. It started off with Brandon texting Dominique, and then after he texted Dominique, Dominique walked into the restaurant, and then he started taking pictures of Dominique at the restaurant, and then after that. And then after that part, Patrick and his girlfriend walked her to the restaurant, and Shawdrea had a funny look on her face because she was already there working, and she was sitting people down, and she was doing. And then next thing you know, Torin walked in the restaurant, and as Torin walked in the restaurant, he saw Patrick and his girlfriend. So Torin walked over to Patrick and his girlfriend, and asked Patrick in front of his girlfriend. Why did you fire me from doing the event? Why did you fire me from doing the housewarming? What was going on? And then so Patrick said, well, I told you my girlfriend didn't want no house. My girlfriend said she was going to do the decorations and stuff. And he said, but why? I still could have did the housewarming. She said, well, I felt that since I already know how to do decoration, I could and stuff like that. She said, well, that's why, because I wanted to do it. He said, oh, okay. And then next thing you know, Torin went over there and told Shawdrea that Patrick fired him because his girlfriend wanted to do the job. And he said that wasn't right. And Shawdrea said, oh, no, that show ain't right. And then as they were talking, Patrick and his girlfriend were being seated at the restaurant, and Shawdrea said, yeah, we know that Patrick come up in here to get free food, and I guess she wants some free food too. And so she kind of glanced over Safari and saw that Torin and Shawdrea were friends, and they were really talking. And so Shawdrea went over to the rest of the group and said, "Yeah, Patrick fired a Torin because his girlfriend didn't want him to work there, and they all kind of looked kind of funny and stuff like that." And so the next scene was when they were getting ready to start the team building meeting, and so they showed a little clip of Philip and his friend, and Philip told his friend that he really didn't want to. He really wasn't invited to the meeting, and he didn't want to go to the meeting anyway because they were just gonna talk about what they thought. And so the meeting started, and so Kandi asked the staff what were their grievances and what stuff that was going on. And so this young lady, I think her name was Marie or Mary or something like that. Anyway, she said that a lot of the times, sometimes they're not certain people to be waiting and sitting on guests and stuff, and they don't have no silverware, and all they have is plastic or something. She said, what happened to it? She said, I don't know what happened to the silverware. The silverware be coming up missing and stuff like that. And they were saying, well, the hostess and stuff was supposed to be responsible anyway. And so what happened, Shawdrea chimed in and said, well, she tired of Maria and some of them other girls always running where she at. They ain't got to be keeping no tabs on her. She know how to do her job and stuff. And so Kandi didn't say too much and nothing about that. And then Todd and Kandi both said, what do y'all think about the new management and the new changes we're having? That's when Torin chimed in and said, nah, I don't like the new management. I don't like Philip. Philip think he is above people and try to make people look like they're less than, they're littler than him. And then that's when Dawn Juan chimed in and say, Torin, you walked in there with an attitude toward Philip before you even met him. And then in his confessional, that's when Torin said, Dawn Juan, if you're gonna imitate me, do it right. I don't act nothing like that. And then the next thing you know, that's when Kandi said, well, okay. And then so Aunt Nora told Kandi, you need to handle this, calm this down. So Kandi said, everybody calm down, you say your stuff. And then Kandi said, well, Shawdrea, everybody else is speaking. You barely saying anything. You barely saying anything. What's going on? And then what you call chimed in, and Patrick said, well, it's some people that was complaining about the food that they serve on Tuesday and not the same food they serve on Friday. And she said, who said that? And then Patrick didn't say do nothing. And then Shawdrea said in her confessional, this stupid boy going around telling everything I'm saying. Shawdrea, you should have known that Patrick is gonna be loyal to his cousin than he is to you. And so that's when Melvin chimed in and said, well, yeah, he don't like people coming in the kitchen, messing up stuff when he's off, and they have other cooks. He said other cooks are supposed to learn how to follow the recipe. He's right about that, because when I worked at the hospital, it was one of our cooks. We had started selling what they call it, organic type healthy food for certain people who were allergic to certain stuff and had allergies and stuff. And this one cook, he added a little bit too much pepper, something. Honey child, they wrote him up quick, fast, in a hurry, because they didn't want those patients getting that food that was not organic and healthy for them. So yeah, you got to follow the menu. That was a side note, but anyway, after that, Kandi said, well, okay, since everybody's having these grievances, we're going to have a team building meeting, and they was going to get ready to close the meeting. And that's when Mama George chimed in and said, yeah, can I speak, Kandi? Kandi said, yeah. She said, Kandi, Torin said something about, because Torin had chimed in earlier and said some people don't even wipe the menus, and they talk about it ain't their job. He said, even though it ain't his job, sometimes he wipe down the menus. And then that's when Mama Joyce chimed in and said, yeah, I done seen managers walk right over paper that be on the floor and don't even pick it up and stuff like that. She said, and also, I asked management to come and help me out in the kitchen, and they didn't do it. Brandon went right back in his, and Mama Joyce aired him out right quick. And for first she was just saying management, but then she finally got said, no, now Brandon. I asked Brandon to help me in the kitchen with something, and he went and sat down in the office. And then that's when Aunt Bertha chimed in and said, yeah, I spoke to Brandon one day, and he would speak back to me. And Aunt Nora said, well, he probably didn't. She said, no, I was right up on him. He heard me. He just didn't want to speak to me. And I said, it'll be a cold day in H before I speak to him again. Then when Kandi got ready to interrupt the meeting, he gonna try to come in, and Aunt Bertha said, go on. You don't want to speak to me? Go on. I don't blame Aunt Bertha. I don't know why these young people that's working for Kandi and the gang don't realize those the old lady gang is not just there to take pictures. They're there to oversee what's going on in that restaurant, and they're gonna tell Kandi and Todd, so Kandi and Todd can handle it. So y'all don't only have Philip eyes, y'all got the old lady gang eyes, and they're gonna carry much weight than what Philip's. They're gonna listen to Philip, but they're gonna listen to the old lady gang more. So y'all young people better realize the old lady gang got two jobs, not just there to sit down. They there to oversee y'all too. But anyway, after that part, they showed Brian in his kitchen cooking and stuff like that. I didn't think they were going to show Brian since he was suspended. And then after that, it switched back to Patrick in the parking garage asking people where they coming. The old lady gang and charging them $10. And then when Torin saw that, he walked outside and said, Patrick, is y'all still having a housewarming party? What's going on? He said, well, I talked to Safari about it. Safari really don't want a housewarming party. He said, but why Safari don't want a housewarming party? He said, she already doing the decorations. He said, Safari. And so he said, okay. And then in his confessional, Torin said, Patrick is doing a lot of stuff because he's influenced by Safari. Safari's been making a whole lot of decisions for Patrick lately. And then after that, they showed Patrick on the phone talking to Safari, asking Safari that Torin wants to know if they're still going to have a housewarming party. And she said on the phone, we already talked about that. He said, okay. And then the next scene switched to where Patrick was getting off of work, and he came home and he started calling Safari. She was there, and he said, Safari, they said, oh, I'm trying to kiss you. He said, let me go take a shower first because I'm all sweaty. She said, you trying to avoid the elephant in the room. He said, what elephant in the room? About this housewarming party. You called me on the phone about it. He said, yeah, Torin asked me about it. He said, "Yeah, Torin asked me about the housewarming party, and he asked me about the housewarming party. I told you wouldn't have no housewarming party." He said, "What?" He said, "What would make you?" He said, "What would make you not want a housewarming party?" He said, "Is there anything that I could do where you could be comfortable?" She said, "Nah, because people don't need to know where you stay. People don't need to know your address and stuff like that and stuff like that." He said, "Well, you know, a lot of people that's gonna go to the housewarming party is gonna be at the other party." Which we found out later was Brandon's birthday party. But anyway, she said, "Let's make a guest list." Let me pause this right quick because I need a drink of water. I'm back, and then Patrick and Safari make a guest list of who they want and who they don't want at the housewarming party if they have one. And then the scene switched to where Rashad showed up at Brian's apartment. Brian and Rashad started making egg rolls, his soul food egg rolls, and he was saying that by him being suspended, he was able to work on his own private business. He said he had sold out a whole lot of egg rolls, and then after they made and cooked some egg rolls, they sat down to talk about what was going on at the old lady gang. And Brian told Rashad that Dominique showed up late for work that day and nobody really said nothing. And then that's when Rashad said that he don't think that he don't think that management is that smart or that intelligent. He was saying that that's unprofessional for Brian to be dating Dominique. That's very unprofessional to them. And then it switched to the next scene where Philip was at the restaurant and he was asking Brandon about his birthday party, and Brandon said he was going to do that later on. And then Philip also asked Brandon what was going on with the restaurant, how he liked the morning meeting, and he said, well, it was pretty good to them. He said, yeah, I think the guests are warming up to me. And then it flashed to another scene in the restaurant where Kandi, the old lady gang, Don Juan, all of them were entering the restaurant. And then so when Don Juan seen Kandi and Todd come to the restaurant, he told him, he put him to the side and said, I got something to show you, So they came to the side, and Don Juan showed Kandi that video of Shawdrea talking about that Kandi and Todd don't care about the restaurant and stuff like that. And then Don Juan said in his confessional, if that would have been him, he would have been let Shawdrea go. And so in their confessional, Todd told Kandi she's got to go now because she's making us look bad and the restaurant. And Kandi said, well, yeah, we're going to talk to Shawdrea. And then the next thing you know, they showed Brandon showing up at Blaze, and Brandon was showing up at Blaze, and he invited his mom, his dad, and some of his family and friends. And his mama said, what about this girl you be talking about? Is she coming? And Brandon said, well, I don't know if she coming, but I hope she come. And they were saying, what does she do? He said she's a bartender. She's a bartender at the place where I work. Oh, she's a bartender at the place you work. And then it flashed to the next scene where Dominique and Torin was in the car talking about it. And Dominique was saying, you know, Torin, I wasn't going to come at first. He said, the only reason why you coming because I came. She said, yeah, because I really want to come. She said, you know, sometimes, in a confessional, Dominique said, you know, sometimes a girl has to show up and do cute stuff. And then the next thing you know, Patrick and his girlfriend had arrived, and then somebody else had arrived, and then it was Torin and Dominique last, and then Brandon was so happy that Dominique came, and so he told his parents that Dominique was the girl that he was interested in, and she said, oh, you interested in? And then they got to talking separately, and then they said, ooh, she looks like a real good girl, I think she's the one for Brandon. And so you could tell that Brandon's mom and dad kind of like Dominique, and so Dominique was over there talking, and so when Patrick and his girlfriend went over, they were sitting down, and so Patrick went over. Torin went over there to talk to Patrick and his girlfriend, and when Torin showed up, Patrick left for a few minutes, and then Torin told Safari, how he felt about doing the decorations. He was there, he's ready to do the decorations. She said, well, I can do that. He said, well, now I see what you're talking about. You don't want everybody to know this and that, and you know what? But now I think that you're an okay person. I think Torin just said that. And then it switched to the next scene where it was the next day, and Kandi and Todd showed up to old lady gang, and then that's when Don Juan, they showed up at Old Lady Gang, and Kandi showed up at Old Lady Gang, and that's when Todd asked Kandi, where was she? She said, I'm already at the restaurant. He said, I am at the restaurant too. He said, I'm outside, let's come. And she said, okay, then we got to talk to her now. I said, yeah, we need to talk to that girl and get it over with. And so Kandi told Shawdrea that she wanted to talk to her. And then when Kandi and Todd sat down with Shawdrea, they were saying, Shawdrea, we heard that you had a lot to say about the restaurant. Why come you didn't say it in the meeting? And she said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And she said, and Todd said, well, we heard that you said that we don't care about our business. We don't care about our restaurant, and that's wrong. You going around talking about our restaurant and making us look bad. And then that's what Kandi said, Shawdrea, are you the same person that we hired at the beginning, or are you a different person? Do you really want to be here? And that's when the show ended. So next week, I think it's going to be about the team building and whether or not they keep Shawdrea. This is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a T.I. is. I am out.